go right to the belly of the beast in New York. Bring in our friend Bruce Beck, NBC4 New York, longtime sports anchor and sports director there. And gosh, I mean, were you even working at MSG back when the Knicks were in the finals in 94 and 99 back then?
So I am such a Knick guy in the sense, I don't really talk about it much, but in 69-70, I was there, Game 7, as a fan. My dad was a Knicks season ticket holder, and I was there when the Knicks won Game 7, and Clyde had 36 points and 19 assists, and they captured the NBA title. That was the 69-70 season, and I was there in the 72-73 season. Then as a broadcaster, in 99, I was there covering Allen Houston and that crazy shot that went in, the first number 8 seed to get to the finals. So, yes, I've been at MSG since 97, so I was part of that run. And in 94, I was actually working for MSG, and that was my last year there when the Rangers captured the cup. And John Stark shot the Knicks out of the NBA Finals in Game 7. But this is different. And in a sense, Jason, it's the same because I see the qualities of the 69-70 Knicks in this group. They're selfless, they're unselfish, and they just have a great chemistry and cohesiveness that's very hard to define.
Yeah, it's been a magical run. Bruce Beck hanging out with us on SportsWrap, and I always love to get his perspective because he has been around New York sports for so long. I'm trying to wrap my arms around the fact that, and a lot of people will say, 'cause we're on all over the country, you get a lot of people that say this is a product of the East. This is Philadelphia. It's Atlanta. It's Philadelphia, who was craptastic all year until they figured out a way to beat the Celtics. And then it's Cleveland with James Harden. So you knew that Cleveland wasn't going to go that far with James Harden, given what his entire career has been. As somebody who's seen this team a lot this year, being in New York, and seeing the struggles they had at various points throughout the year, when you analyze it all, how much is it them? How much of it is the East?
I think a lot of it is them. They're playing great basketball, and things changed in Atlanta. They were down 2-1, and Mike Brown made this not so subtle change where Karl Anthony Towns became the point center and started basically orchestrating the offense, becoming the facilitator, and the ball was less in Jalen Brunson's hands. I agree this is a down year in the East. I thought the Celtics might have presented the Knicks with their toughest challenge, or the Pistons because of their defensive-minded nature and Cade Cunningham, and they beat the Knicks very easily during the regular season. They didn't play either of those two teams, but they did beat Atlanta by 51, Philly by 30, and Cleveland by 37 in elimination games, which is insane. And the fact that they've outscored opponents by 262 points in those 11 consecutive wins means they're not just getting by. They're playing great basketball, shooting at a high percentage, multitude of assists, team defense, team offense, good coaching, and a very solid bench. They've got the depth. So, Jason, yes, I agree. I'm eager to see what's going to happen with the West. I think both of those teams are much better than the teams the Knicks have played. But I thought the Knicks would get to the West and get to the final of the NBA and then get shellacked. I don't feel that way now.
I have been adamant from before the start of this postseason. I thought there was a path for the Knicks to win the title. And so far, that path has taken shape. My belief was, if they got the Spurs in the finals, I think they win. If they get the Thunder in the finals, I think it's a bad matchup. I think they lose. I don't think they get beaten in 4 or 5 gentlemen sweep, but 6 wouldn't be wouldn't be crazy to me that they lose in 6 to the Thunder. I think the Thunder are a bad matchup for them, but I've seen them enough against the Spurs. Yes. I went to the NBA Cup final game here in Vegas. I've seen them enough against the Spurs to think they can run with the Spurs for 6 or 7, and I think they can win that series. But I just don't think they match up well against Oklahoma City. If Jalen Williams is playing, more so. If Jalen Williams isn't playing, it obviously changes the dynamic of that series. Go ahead.
So my thoughts are exactly what you said about the Spurs. I think the Knicks can beat the Spurs. I think the Spurs are a year or two away from being a dynastic team, and they're really good, but they're all under 23. I mean, the average age is
It's
the
crazy.
lowest in the
Yeah.
history of the finals or of the NBA playoffs per se, of team getting to the conference finals. I think Oklahoma City is different though now because of what the Knicks have on their resume in the postseason and the fact that they're a banged up team and they might be playing a 7 game series.
Mm.
Now the Knicks benefited from Cleveland playing a 7 game series. They benefited from Philly having to play a 7 game series. So they've gotten a lot of breaks along the way. Atlanta actually played them better than anybody. They were doubling Brunson, they were beating him up physically, but they just weren't good enough. And the Knicks kind of started this steamrolling effect. So I think the Knicks can win it all. I don't know if they will win it all, but I think that they're going to be very close to even. Maybe Oklahoma City favored by a little if they get there, but OKC still has to beat San Antonio. The Knicks get this long break again, and you have a team in the Thunder that's got to get healthy a
J-
little bit.
Jalen Brunson's place in history. If he wins a title as the front man for this team, where do you put him in Knicks lore as somebody that, again, has followed this team for so many years?
I hear that Mount Rushmore stuff all the time.
I didn't even want to say the Mount Rushmore thing.
How many are there? Four?
Yeah.
So Clyde's got to be there, and Ewing has to be there, and probably Willis has to be there. Is there a spot on the outside corner ahead of Carmelo and Earl and Bernard King and Bill Bradley and Dick Barnett and Dave DeBusschere? Maybe. I think that he's definitely top 5 or 6 ever if he wins a title, and he's got a long runway still ahead of him. What he's doing is magnificent, and he does it in such a quiet way. Jason, there was a quote after the game 3
Okay.
in Cleveland, and they asked Brunson about the focus for the next game. This is Mr. Understated. You have the first possession, the first quarter, and then you have the end of the first half, and you go on. I mean, that's not verbose stuff, but that's Jalen Brunson. Yeah. And when he was honored as the MVP, I guess, of this series, the conference finals, first thing he said was, it's about the guys. Mm-hmm. It's about his teammates. He's really an unselfish guy who's got a lot of Jeter-like qualities. I've heard that he studied Jeter because he's got the same mannerisms. He's selfless. He's team-oriented, and he's a captain that leads in a quiet way, but leads by example. So yeah, I think this Jalen Brunson thing is crazy what he's done. And I think he will go down as one of the all-time great Knicks. And whether he's on Mount Rushmore or not, I think he might be in 10 years. But for now, he's somewhere close by or getting the corner spot, all right?
Yeah. And look, Karl Anthony Towns has been much maligned throughout these last few years with the Knicks about whether or not he could be part of the championship puzzle. There were people that had him in trades, these people out there that try to put these trade machines together and say, well, he'd have to go if you were bringing in somebody else. And you look at what Karl Anthony Towns has done, again, adjusting to that point center position and taking that role. And giving you buckets when you need it, but also being more of that distributor when you don't. I mean, you really can't say enough about what he has done. Landry Shamet off the bench has been fantastic for this team. We talked, and that was the difference with Tom Thibodeau's teams. You weren't getting that bench production. And you've seen that a few times in this postseason where you're getting that bench production. So maybe, a lot of people wondered, again, could you win a championship with Mike Brown as a head coach? You've got a couple of these guys that are part of this puzzle, Bruce, that a lot of people wondered, were these, when you put it all together, was this a championship team? We're going to get a chance to find out in about a week.
Let's take the two of those names you mentioned and turn them into talking points. First of all, Karl Anthony Towns, he's the hub of their offense. And the change has made this offense unstoppable. He had 2 triple doubles for a big guy in game 4 and game 6 against Atlanta. and he had games like 18 and 13, 13 and 8, 13 and 13 in the postseason. I mean, his passing is spectacular. He throws this pass to the deep corner that's like crazy. And he doesn't care about scoring. I don't think so. I don't think any of them do. So Towns, I agree. They were talking about that trade for Giannis for so long and I believed it too. Maybe they couldn't win with the current configuration, but I think they can. And Towns has proved a lot of people wrong. As far as the coaching change, look, Tom Thibodeau was the first thing that Leon Rose did when he took over in 2020. Tom Thibodeau led them to the mountaintop, but I don't think he was going to ever get this far. And part of the reason is he didn't play enough guys off the bench. And Josh Hart led the league in minutes last year, and this year he's averaging fifth on the Knicks in terms of total minutes. So big changes there. But I think Mike Brown's offense and his mind and his acumen and the way he handles the whole team, I think it works. And you don't have to be a screamer. You don't have to be Spoelstra in terms of the brilliance of coaching. I think he has a brilliant offensive mind, and I think he knows how to coach the game. He's like a coach of the 21st century. And he's also like those old school guys. I remember when Torrey and Zimmer used to handle the Yankees. So Torrey's the manager and Zimmer's the bench coach. And it wasn't like how many pitches would matter. This is what would happen late in the game. Hey Zim, what do you think? Should we keep him in? Yeah, yeah, looks pretty good to me, Let's give him a few more. Yeah, I agree with you. Let's leave him in.
True.
So Mike Brown has a feel that's less like Tony La Russa, that's less like Buck Showalter in terms of managing the numbers, and I think he's doing a really good job. And that's not to say he's not really a great coach, because I think he is.
Let me get you out on this one.
Right.
You mentioned going to Game 7.
Yeah.
And sitting at Madison Square Garden. I don't think you're going to be able to do that without taking out another mortgage, Bruce Beck.
Yeah, right.
Because if you haven't heard the ticket prices, 2 courtside seats sold for almost $600K, verified on StubHub. Somebody paid $600,000 to sit courtside for Game 3 of Knicks versus ? I mean, again,
trying to buy a house,
sell a kidney. Yeah, I mean, my God, it must be an expensive kidney. I mean, but I mean, look, you see the way these Knicks fans have traveled, which is amazing. I mean, it's really been awesome to watch the way Knicks fans have traveled. I mean, the fever around this thing. I did a SportsWrap short about it, social media short about it the other day, because I said people don't understand unless you're a Knicks fan, you just don't get it. You just don't understand why this fan base is so passionate in the way it is about the Knicks. Of all the teams in New York, the Rangers, Knicks, Yankees, Mets, Islanders, throw them all in. Is it the most passionate of the fan bases, or just the most starved?
This is why you're good, because this is a topic that we're really starting to discuss in New York. I would think this is one of the more passionate fan bases in all of sports. And I would think when you talk about New York sports, there's probably more Yankee fans than anything. The old school teams, Yankees, Giants, Knicks, and Rangers, are the older generation's teams. Those are the teams that I grew up with. Then you've got like the Jets, the Nets, and the Mets. They kind of go together for the younger guys. I think right now, I've never seen a fan base this insane. I mean, I really think the Yankees are the world's team. I was this summer in the Amalfi Coast, and my wife, every time we looked around in different places that we were touring, there were Yankee hats. There aren't New York Giant hats. There aren't New York Met hats. There weren't even New York Knicks hats. It was New York Yankee hats. So globally, that brand, is the brand. But right now, I think in New York, maybe even in the U.S., this Knicks fan base, and a lot of it's tied to the fact that they haven't won a title since 1973, and a lot of it's tied to the fact they hadn't gone to the finals since 1999, and a lot of it's tied to the fact, Jason, I was checking tonight doing some prep because I was getting ready for the show, they have not won more. They won one series, Jason, between 2001 and 2022.
Yeah.
One series. Okay, so these people, they're crazy and they're desperate. And I think that's what a part of it is too.
Yeah.
So yes, I would say they got in trouble for their behavior. So a watch party was banned by New York City.
I saw that.
Outside of the Garden, which is a great spot there, right on 33rd, close to Penn Station. I give them a lot of credit. I've even my son's friends, they went to Cleveland. Everybody is going everywhere to watch the Knicks. So yes, as of now, in my opinion, this is the most passionate fan base in New York, and certainly one of the most passionate in the country. And the last thing I want to lead you with is, if Sam Merrill makes that shot in game one, the ball went in and out at the buzzer, how different the series could have been.
Yep.
They would have won game one. The Cavs would have believed a little bit. Maybe they get a split in New York. Maybe they get a game in Cleveland. But that game, the way the Knicks came back 32-18 in the fourth, 14-3, outscoring them in overtime, Brunson scoring 11 in a row at one point in the fourth, that was the series. Isn't it amazing that last year when the Knicks lost to the Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals, that was the stunning turnaround in game one where
Crazy comeback,
and the Pacers won. So game ones, stop with the nonsense. It's not that important. Game ones are important. They set the tone. And in this one, I just think that it would have been a tougher series, a better series. It might not have been all these blowouts, but in the end, Cleveland was no match.
Yeah, for sure. You're gonna have fun. Enjoy the run next week. This team getting ready to travel to Oklahoma City or San Antonio for the NBA Finals. You're gonna
get a little time off, Jay, like the team to kind of get rejuvenated, right?
Catch your breath. I know we're all gonna have to catch our breath. I got the Patrick.
It'll be fun.
I got the Patrick Ewing basketball autographed above my head. That's my.
He's so happy.
He was my favorite player of all time. It was so cool seeing him and Clyde give out the trophies tonight. I thought that was awesome.
So that might be the three pillars of three eras together. And I really didn't get to mention that on the news because I have limited time.
Yeah.
But I was thinking of that. That could be,
it's interesting.
Along with Willis, could be your Mount Rushmore right there.
Certainly could.
In 5 to 7 years. Those
certainly could. Bruce Beck, always appreciate you, my friend. Always grateful for your time. Enjoy the NBA Finals. We'll talk soon.
Thanks so much, Chase. Always great to talk to you.